This is part of a series of messages about my journey from being a conservative, traditional Christian to being more progressive in my faith. You might want to go back and look at the other videos in the series before you listen to this one. I know that there are lots of people who are deconstructing and maybe choosing to reconstruct their faith. And my hope is that by telling my story, some of you will find something that will help you as you travel a similar path. There's a quote by author C.S. Lewis that goes, "Think of me as a fellow patient in the same hospital who, having been admitted a little earlier, could give some advice." That's sort of how I'm thinking about these little messages, sort of nuggets of the things that I've experienced and learned in the last 20 years or so. I need to be clear. I grew up in what many people call a mainline church, specifically what became the United Methodist Church. So my experience wasn't as religiously traumatic as many of yours. The Methodist Church has been called a big tent, and within the denomination, we've always had a wide variety of theological beliefs. But the church I spent most of my time in was relatively open-minded congregation, but over the years it's been heavily influenced by folks on the more traditional end of the spectrum. The denomination has been ordaining women since 1956, but so the rejection of women's leadership wasn't quite as strong as it was and is in some other denominations. But even today, there are United Methodist churches that specifically say they don't want a female pastor. So the misogyny and non-acceptance continue. I should say that I'm ordained as what is called an elder in the United Methodist Church, and I've been fortunate in my time in pastoral ministry that I've served congregations that have accepted me as a woman. But I've experienced the ugly side of that issue from time to time as well. Things like when teaching, being told that I was bossy, even if what I was saying had come from a man, it's unlikely that it would have been seen as something less than. Well, that's all for today. More later.